Hey, everybody. As you know, I'm Bradley, and welcome to today's session. Allegra, thanks for having me. Thanks for taking the time. My intention for this is that it's highly beneficial that you all take a furious amount of notes, that you get creatively inspired, and that you walk away from the session being like, oh shit, I got a whole bunch of e-courses I could actually go create, like starting now. So that's the main goal. I'm going to give like a 2-minute background on me and my history with e-courses and leveraging my life's work and building passive income streams through online courses before I get into like the actual presentation part of the presentation. I'm going to save all questions for the end. So if you have questions come up at certain points while I'm talking, please feel free to put those in the chat. Allegra will file those to the side and we'll do a rapid fire Q&A at the end of the session today. Hopefully all of you have like 30 minutes after the session today to do some exercise work, because I'm probably not going to do the exercise work I had intended, so we can do more time on the Q&A side of things. So there are going to be some exercises that I'm going to encourage you to go do. So my background in the online learning space, I launched my first video on YouTube ever in 2007. It went viral. It led me to do speaking tours around North America for about 2 years. I then started teaching meditation workshops. Between 2009 and 2012, I led 500 workshops and retreats around the world. And then I got tired of doing that, and I decided to put all my meditation work online. In 2012, I spent the next couple of years just learning how to build courses and spreading my work. And that's now spread to about 70 plus countries. And I have passive income from 7 or 8 different meditation apps, companies, and places like that around the internet that pay me either monthly, quarterly, or annually for the work I did a long time ago. And so licensing your work is definitely something I have experience in. And so then I started teaching people to build courses. And then about 5.5 years ago, we started to reimagine what online learning could be. And we decided that online learning should be fun and exciting and engaging, just like all the other wonderful things that we pay attention to on the internet, like videos and games and social media and all that thing. So our philosophies with Majik Media is to merge those things and make learning more awesome. And so today I want to talk about mini courses. I feel like I've been saying this for probably 5 years ago. I have an article that said mini courses are the way of the future. And I still believe that. The human attention span is shorter than it's been for probably ever. And that means, you know, my first course that I ever launched was like a 40-day vision quest on meditation. And it was awesome. People loved it. And a 40-day vision quest is not a great entry-level program. It's not a great first course to create. Something that's simpler, easier to digest is what we want to do for the people that are going to go through our courses. So got a little slide. Can you see the slide all right? We good there?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So today, I want to get you inspired about the possibilities, that if you were to take your coaching practice and start building courses, that it won't be as hard or complicated as the story you might be telling yourself. So let's start by what is a mini course, or what is an online course? Ultimately, just like your coaching practice, you're working with people, and those people are coming to you to go on a journey to get to a destination. So your job is to basically take them from where they are, the bottom of the mountain, on a journey all the way to the top of the mountain to where they want to be. And the idea is to get them there in as few steps as possible. People come to you as a coach or as an expert or guide because you have been there, you've done that, and you know some of the shortcuts, and you know how to avoid some of the places where maybe you've stumbled and fallen before. And your job is, as a guide, is to help get them to the top of the mountain the easiest, the quickest, the most effective and efficient way possible. So ultimately, a course is a step-by-step guided process. Today, what I'm doing for you is not a course. This is a presentation. There's a very, very big difference. I am not necessarily guiding you step by step to build your mini course. I am giving you the information and the inspiration you need to go forward and build your own mini course. So a course and a presentation or a webinar are two very different things. A course would be broken down into individual smaller steps to take people from where they are to a specific result or transformation. Whereas this is giving you the information you need to go forward and maybe go through a course or to go build your own course. So the thing I love about mini courses, one, they facilitate one outcome or one result. So, you're not trying to, when building a mini course, you're not trying to give people all of the wisdom you've gained in your entire life. You're trying to help them get a really specific, tangible result that can be promised on a sales page. That like, I'm going to take you from here to here if you go through my course. And the here to here might be, I'm going to help you develop a 10-minute breath practice every single day. I'm going to help you organize your calendar in the next 10 days. I'm going to help you to lose 4 pounds in 4 weeks. Whatever it is, the idea is that it needs to be tangible and specific. A lot of sales pages can be a little bit fluffy and vague. And the more specific you are about the result you're going to lead people towards, the better. Another thing it's great for is it's a do-it-yourself style with less one-on-one support. So, when we started talking with Allegra, like her coaching practice was pretty much at capacity for where she could take it. So we had an initial session that was like, well, what could you do to leverage all of the work that you're doing by building a membership and by creating, your own library, your own sandbox to play and create courses and create content and webinars and bring in guest teachers and all that sort of stuff. So, the idea of a mini course is that it's taking the pressure off of you and your calendar, and it opens you up to more possibilities for facilitating transformation without having to be fully present with the people that are going through your processes. The other thing about mini courses is that you're creating fewer steps and less time for people to get to that result. So you're trying to condense and consolidate what you've learned and what you know into as few steps as possible to get them to where they're trying to go. So it saves them time, it saves you time, and ultimately it creates more value for you and your one-on-one time or your one to few times. So, for me, because we've got this incredible library of online courses, it has absolutely amplified what I'm able to charge for my one-on-one or consulting or partnership projects that we do. Because if people can't afford what it is that we're doing, they can access me through our masterminds, which are by the group, and they can access us through all of the courses and resources that we've been building over the years that will still take them to that result. It just won't require all of me to be there and support the facilitation of their transformation. And ultimately, they're awesome for leveraging your life's work. The purpose of building a course library is so that everything that's inside of you can live somewhere outside of you. So that if you were to leave planet Earth today, your legacy would be left behind on the internet. That you would still be able to change people's lives, to share your stories, to share your wisdom, your skills, and your gifts long after you're gone. And for me, like with my meditation work, I haven't taught a meditation class for years, but my meditations have impacted hundreds of thousands of people. I get emails every week. People purchase my meditation courses every week. Like, it is something that has lived on long after my career as a meditation teacher. And it's allowed me, by putting all of that work online, it's allowed me to move on from that chapter. I was ready to move on from it, but I didn't want the work to die when I chose to go do something different with my life. And so by putting it online, it's allowed it to live far beyond where I wanted it, where I wanted to take it personally. And it's impacted, I mean, I was teaching meditation in 3 or 4 different countries over the years of me teaching those workshops. And I mean, it's probably 70 or 80 countries around the world have people that do my meditations daily. So it's one of those things, like, it has fully leveraged that body of work. I've now built many other bodies of work. Well, that stuff is still spreading around the world. So it is ultimately there to leverage your life's work. So the first thing, get your notepad, get your paper, just start writing down your assets. Take some inventory of what you're already teaching, what you already know, what you already do in your coaching practice, what assets you already have created, and what processes you facilitate. So think about the tools and techniques that you use or have learned over your lifetime that have supported you to get you to where you are now. Sure, some of those tools and techniques may not be things that you're presently using, but they may be things that have helped you to get over certain obstacles in your life along the journey. And those tools and techniques might be really helpful and beneficial to somebody that's just a little ways back on their journey. Think about all of the exercises you facilitate in your coaching sessions, or if you teach workshops, what are the exercises you're giving people in those workshops that you could use or turn into a course that help to facilitate that process on autopilot? What is your inspirational wisdom? What are the stories that you have from your own life that could inspire other people? What are the philosophies that you draw from? How can you teach those to more people? Think about the processes you guide. Do you have step-by-step processes? You know, when you work with a client on a 30-day stint or a 90-day process, you know, what is that process and what parts of that process can be broken down into courses that may not necessarily require you to be the one they're guiding? And then the final thing is, at the end of your sessions with a client, what homework are you assigning? I mean, all of these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, these 5 different things, your tools and techniques, the exercises, the inspirational wisdom, the processes you guide, and the homework you assign, all of these things can make fantastic bases for a mini course that's guiding somebody to a really specific result. And they would be delivered as videos, audios, workbooks, exercises, discussion forums, and live sessions. Like, this is basically what makes up a mini course. You don't have to have all of these things in a mini course. You could have some of them. If you're in the world of transformational work, guided audios are like the way to facilitate transformation. Instead of people watching a screen with a video of you, they put on some headphones, they close their eyes, and they go on a journey. You know, the exercises and workbooks, getting people to actually self-reflect or go do a real world action that creates a real world result. Creating a discussion forum for us, and I know for Allegra, like, we're using Mighty Networks because it's probably the best tool out there for getting people connected in an online space while going through transformational processes. And then obviously video production and doing live sessions just like the one we're in right now. That's what makes, those are the ingredients that make up the mini course that help to facilitate whatever transformation it is that you're trying to guide. And when you add all those things up, you get transformations on autopilot. All of a sudden, you know, it does take effort to create your courses and to build a course library. It's not easy, and there are a lot of steps. But once you create your first, you understand what goes into doing it. So that's why I always tell people, like, start with a small mini course to begin with that guides a specific result that people are often asking about, that would be easy enough for you to design the curriculum around, and then you can grow from there. But just that feeling of being able to go to bed and wake up and somebody has purchased one of your products that you created while you're sleeping is a wonderful thing. And if you just keep at it and you keep creating really high quality offerings, um, it it only keeps growing. You know, the number of people that are going to keep signing up, it just keeps growing if you stick with it. And for me, um, when I decided I didn't want to do meditation or teach workshops anymore, and I just wanted to put it online, I gave myself 5 years. I said, for the next 5 years, so that I can develop the level of freedom that I'm hoping for in my life to be able to do the things I want, which at that time I wanted to play professional golf, which I'm now doing. I I gave myself a 5 year timeline of, I'm going to just learn everything I can about online learning, about like building courses and launching courses and doing it. And that's what I did. And I mean, by the time I got to 5 years, that was fully supporting my lifestyle. It was, I mean, it still wasn't easy. It was, sometimes it was month to month in that, but it was supporting me to live in a beautiful location. And I had enough knowledge that I could keep creating and launching and making my way in life. And then I started to teach people how to build courses, and then the rest is kind of history. So just to go over some of the benefits of building your mini course library in case you're not sold yet. One, it makes your work more accessible to more people. So for me, when I was teaching meditation, I was working, you know, I'd have a group show up and there'd be 2 or 3 up to 25 to 50 people per workshop. And I was always limited by the size of the room or my ability to market those workshops. Whereas when you build online products like a mini course, you make it accessible to the whole world. And that's amazing. It allows you to create more streams of income. I mean, I definitely have, as far as like my courses and partnership projects and licensing deals, I have double digit income streams that come in either, you know, daily, monthly, quarterly, or annually. And so the more assets you create for your business, the more valuable your business becomes, the more people you're able to serve, and the more income you're able to generate. Whereas if you're just doing one-on-one coaching, you're always limited by how many hours you have in a day and how much mental, emotional, and spiritual bandwidth you have to hold space for people. Your mini course library, it could be used for multiple purposes. One is when somebody purchases a coaching program, it could become an upsell. Or two, you use it as integration work for people who have been working with you, or you use it as homework between sessions of like, okay, we just did this session. Now, you know, go do this section of the mini course before our next session. And so you can really use it as a framework to guide your one-on-one clients or bring people into your one-on-one coaching programs by having them start off going through a mini course. Another wonderful thing is it stops you from having to repeat yourself all the time. You know, if you think about all the advice you give or the processes that you facilitate, chances are you repeat yourself quite a lot. You give the same advice, you facilitate the same exercises. So having a mini course essentially, um, it releases that part of your job of having to say those things again so that you can grow into whatever's next for you, that you can start to develop new tools and new techniques, or, you know, go learn some new skills. Well, that other stuff is on autopilot. I mean, for me, like having, you know, I learn, I grow, I transform, I create a course, I move on. And it's helped me to really move forward in my own life and with my business in amazing ways. So again, like your mini courses can be exercises for paid clients. So when they sign up for a coaching program, it could include your mini course. And eventually, like Allegra, you can build a membership site for yourself. If you have enough courses and you have enough things that you can offer a community, it could become a monthly membership that people subscribe to, where you can create regular courses and classes and webinars and all the things. It could just be this amazing thing. And definitely subscription model is a beautiful way to go, because it creates um, more consistent, repeatable income on a monthly basis. Sure, you still have to create value, but as Kevin Kelly, the founder of Wired Magazine, says, all you really need is 1,000 true fans in your life. If you can find your 1,000 true fans, you can live a very successful existence as an entrepreneur and as a creator. So, if you find that group of people that just love and purchase and want to be a part of everything you create, then a membership model might be a really great way forward for you. And finally, you get paid more money for your one-on-one services. You probably instantly get to double your one-on-one services, because you have all these other resources available for people to go through. And so it instantly gives you a pay raise by creating these professional, high quality products for people to consume and go through and be transformed by. But if they want you, they're going to pay for that. And people will. Some people, I'm one of them for sure, is I would much rather work with the real person than go through the course. And so, I'm the type of person that I'll pay to work with the real person. Um, and there's a lot of people out there, but there's also tons of people, probably more people, that would be stoked to just go through a really awesome course with you and maybe have the occasional mastermind or live session um, or like group conversation inside of a community forum. So this is the exercise. You might want to take a screenshot of this homework to do. And I would say set your timer for 30 to 60 minutes, no more than 60 minutes, and just rough in a plan. So number one, take inventory of your tools and processes. Number two, choose one of those things that could lead to a specific result, and create, my apologies for the spelling mistake right there, and create a mini course framework around it. Basically, once you come up with the topic, think about, okay, what do I have to do? What are the steps to get them from where they are to where they want to be? And with mini courses, lessons are to be short. I mean, you want to keep each lesson and each step along the way, if you can, under 5 minutes, where you're like, here's what I'm teaching, here's the lesson, and go do this exercise, take the next step, then go to the next thing. Like, you're trying to move people along fast so they can go get results and move on with their life. Next, after that, map out how each part is delivered. So what is going to be video? What is going to be audio? What are the exercises going to be? What are the group conversations you want to have? And so, like, each lesson should have some form of action to take, that they actually take a real step in the real world to get some results. And then think about how you're going to make it cool. So for Majik Media, we coined a term called themification, which is essentially where you turn your course into a world by giving it some form of theme. With our flagship course, the Grade E Course Adventure, we use the metaphor of climbing a mountain. So we shot it all on green screen, which you don't have to do, but we tried to make it as cool as possible by taking people on this journey up a metaphorical mountain, and to build their course. Because for us, like, building a course is kind of like climbing a mountain. It's beautiful and it's fun and it's hard, and every once in a while you get these incredible views, and then launching the course is like getting to launch summit. Another way to make it cool, I mean, if you watch enough YouTube videos and videos online, if you start to pay attention to how things are shot, you can start to mirror the way you produce your own courses, by just modeling what's working and what you personally pay attention to. So I would say, start paying attention to what you're paying attention to online? And how do you model that in your own courses and your own media that you're creating? Once you have a step-by-step framework and very basic, like a lesson storyboard, then you're going to script and actually create a video storyboard of like writing the scripts for each lesson and then getting yourself prepared to shoot. So writing a storyboard of what you need to shoot. And we're doing a produce your magic trailer class right now. And you know, there's a lot of things that are required to get ready to produce. And so, you know, just making some really clear checklists of what you need to do, who's going to be your videographer, what are you going to wear, where are you going to shoot, what sort of shots do you need to get, all that sort of stuff to map it out. Then book your date, shoot the video, edit it, edit the audios, edit the workbooks, upload it to a platform, whether it's Mighty Networks, Podia, Thinkific, Wistia, there's so many, and then launch it. And I would even say, you know, in there, when you come up with the idea, and this is something we always do, it's something Allegra is doing right now. Once you have the idea and you have the step-by-step process mapped out, I would add in there, start pre-selling it. Give yourself, whether it's 4 weeks or 6 weeks, to pre-sell it. The pre-sales help to fund the building of it. It also validates what you're doing. And then, you know, it shows you that people actually want it. And once you have people actually pre-purchasing, you know, it kind of puts a fire under your butt to get the thing done. And that was actually what happened for me. I just finished facilitating a retreat in Peru years ago. And it was my final retreat I led as a meditation teacher. And I had a few weeks up there and I was like, I'm ready to make this transition. And I had the idea for my first course. I started shooting the videos at the retreat center that I was staying in above Cusco. And a guy who was staying down the road came into the retreat, the gardens where I was staying, where I was shooting my first videos. He's like, what are you doing? I told him about the meditation course I was doing. And he reached into his pocket and he gave me $100. And he's like, I want to be your first customer. And I was like, holy shit, this works. And so that was my first taste of like, as soon as that first sale came in, I was like, I can make money making online courses. Like the product validation is such an amazing part of the journey. And it's probably the scariest for people because you're selling something that doesn't actually exist fully in the world yet, because it's still something in your brain. But in the process of making your sales page, pre-selling it, communicating the value, mapping it out, all these things, it really, it just helps you to have the confidence to go out there, create it, launch it, and share it with people. And the thing is like, always have, if you're pre-selling something, always have, let people know you're the first group that's going to go through this and you're getting a hell of a good deal, which means I'm going to be asking for feedback on how I can improve it for future groups. You know, when you pre-sell something, you give the best deal that will ever be given, so that people don't have the expectation that it's going to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect when it's your first time through. You do the best you can with the resources you have, and, you know, produce as good a video quality as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So that is my very rapid fire presentation on mini courses. Basically, you know, the summary is, if you're running a coaching practice and you're actually working with people right now, you can and should have mini courses. It's going to free up your time. It's going to increase your ability to make more money. It's going to be your creative bliss. I mean, essentially our main philosophy at Majik Media is make art. So don't just make a course, make something that is a full expression of who you are, who you want to be in the world. Let your unique sparkle and passion shine on the internet. And that's what's going to help set you apart from other people that are creating things on the internet. And I can take a breath.
Awesome. So there's some questions that have come through, so we'll totally get to those. And I just want to share too, you know, that piece around, I posted, for those of you here who are in my community, if you saw like that radio show resource that I put out a couple weeks ago, like, while the production stuff is really exciting, that's something that I want to learn about more. I also just want to flag, like, don't let that piece hold you up, because if you look at my stuff, I'm making these videos in my office. It's just me, I'm talking, I create a PDF. And so just keep that in mind too. If any part of the artistic production side is at all feeling like a barrier, know that that part will evolve over time. And also too, like, if you're thinking about some of these and workshopping them, like, this is the space that I love to brainstorm and play. So for those of you who end up in Misfit to Maverick, if you're on this call and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have some ideas, like, this is the kind of project I would love for you to bring into our conversations in that space, because it's really quite creative and fun.
Totally agree with that. And so one of the other things that I've been repeating for about 10 years that always helped me to move forward and just like create what I'm able to create right now. And it was ABC, which is always be creating. If you're always creating, you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always improving, which means what you create now will not be your best work. What you create next time will be better than this work. And just keep creating and you'll always improve. And that's all that really matters. I mean, we're all here playing a long game. You know, this isn't just like a get rich and go retire and live in a hammock on a beach. This is our life's work. And so, you know, if this is what we're here to do in the world, don't hold yourself back by holding on to perfection. Obviously, be creatively inspired by some of the tips that we have. Do your best to apply the ones that feel like they're doable for you. But, you know, don't spend 6 months building a mini course that you're not sure if anybody wants. It's better to just like create it and let that burst of creative energy come through you, put it out, get the feedback from the world of whether people like it or not. If they don't like it, who cares? Go create another thing. You know, that I listen, like the first meditations I ever produced, the quality was so terrible, but people liked me, so they put up with them. And then, you know, eventually I was making enough money and the product was validated that we spent an entire year reproducing 48 different tracks and like making custom music for everyone. And we reinvested what we were making into making new tracks. But the first ones, like my original library, was the techniques were fantastic, but the quality of recording were awful.
And the tools are there now. Like, you can record a video on your iPhone and create a PDF on Google Docs. And like, you know, just, I love that you're sharing that and reflecting that when you start, like, you work with what you're comfortable with and don't let it keep you from getting that creative stuff out. All right. So I want to turn to some questions, and we'll start up at the top. I'll scroll up and I'll just shoot them your way. Let's see. So the first question that came through was from Brianna, and she said, are these courses that you sell or a freebie you use to hook them to buy your course? And Brianna had her hand up. Can we bring her in?
Sure.
Brianna, if you want to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hey, okay. Well, you answered that question for me, but I have like a dozen more that came up. But I think, can you hear me? Okay. I don't know how to lower my hand. There it goes.
Okay.
I think, yeah, this is exciting. Thank you so much for doing this. I feel like where I get overwhelmed easily. So I've been working with clients one-on-one now for about 2 years. I have a program that I guide them through. But a lot of it's open when I work one-on-one with clients, but I've taken a lot of what I've learned and the challenges they've had. And now I have my first group program. We're kind of in the middle of it right now. It's a 3-month course. And I feel like you said, create several mini courses. And that feels like, I don't even know how I would break it up. I feel like what I want to do is create the best, most robust course and put everything I know in it. It doesn't have to be perfect now, but it's like when I iterate on it, I want to do it even better next time. And I'm just kind of wondering if you could give some thought into how do we split that up? Like, should I be going for more mini courses, or what about making like one big grand course that covers everything? And then the second part, it's similar to this, is selling into the course. I know I see a lot of people, like I see Allegra do this, is create these like webinars or these training programs that are free to kind of reel people in and to give them a taste of it. And how do you separate the content you give there from the content that you're offering in your course?
Great question. So obviously this is going to be unique to each of you. What works for one will not work for all. If you've never created a course though, and your first course is a behemoth, you're going to have the rude awakening that when you build courses, you're building a media company. You're not just a teacher or a coach anymore. You're needing to create curriculums. You're needing to produce videos. You're needing to edit videos. You're needing to build a platform. You're needing to create autoresponders, set up shopping carts. There's a lot of steps involved. And so my advice is to start small so that you don't get bogged down and overwhelmed by how many new things you have to learn. The new things you have to learn are not rocket science. They're all doable, and there's tutorials and templates, and technology is like a million times easier than what it was when I got started. Like way easier. That what exists now as far as a plug and play platform goes, it's so much easier. But if you were to turn your massive program into a course, it's going to take you a long time. And I've just seen way too many people who start but never complete, because they get overwhelmed, or life, or their coaching practice is taking up so much of their energy that the course creation process takes up less time. And so that's number one. That's just like the reality of building courses is you're creating a media company. It's a media branch of your current coaching practice. So there's a learning curve there. The other piece is, if you think about, it doesn't even have to be a course per se. Let's just say you have a very, there's 3 different guided meditations that you facilitate, or like 3 different self-reflective exercises you guide. You could create those as a resource and sell them as a resource. So even if we remove the word course from the vocabulary and we just talk about resources of like, here's this process I guide all of my clients through. And it's a guided audio meditation with a self-reflective journaling exercise. And it's going to lead you to X conclusions or X results. That is, a course, creating a set of resources. So, if you were really committed to wanting to do your course as like trying to record what you already have, the first step, like your first version, is to do the best live version of it you possibly can. So say it's a 12-week course, do a weekly live Zoom call with a professional presentation and really specific exercises that people are to do over the next 7 days to get ready for the next session. Like that's a great beta test. It may not be like an evergreen product that people purchase and go through all the time, because you record a live session different than you record an evergreen session. It's a different type of production that you're going for. For live, I can ramble on and on and on, and because we can all see each other and we have this energy bubble that we're contained inside of, I can ramble and you're all still here. And whereas if I'm rambling inside of an online course and it's evergreen and there's no accountability, and the teacher's not actually looking at you in one of these little tiny squares, people are more likely to just like pop off to Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever they go do their binging. And so that's just, I wouldn't recommend creating a premium paid course that is a recording of a series of webinars. But having like a live group going through a course, that's great. So that was two answers. Did any of those land for you with what you're trying to work out for you?
Well, I feel like I'm a little bit of a different place. Like I'm going through, it's a group coaching program. And so there's a lot more interaction in it. And the confidentiality piece is really important to me. So yeah, while I do record our calls, I'm not going to resell those. But what I do offer in between are training videos, and they're short. They're usually between 3 to 8 minutes long. And I talk about different pieces of nutrition, different pieces of health, and that's their homework assignment between. Nice. And it's just me recording it. And so I just keep building that out. And I guess what I'm trying to figure out is okay, so this course was very difficult to sell into. So probably my techniques are wrong. Like I didn't do a webinar or anything like that, but I think it could have been a lot more powerful if I had had some kind of webinar. And I don't know how to do that. Like what do I pull from what I'm currently working on to do like a webinar, I guess. Maybe that would be.
Now, the webinar as a teaching tool or the webinar as a marketing tool? Just so I'm clear.
As a marketing tool, I think.
It's definitely helpful, for people to purchase into a high-end program or like a coaching program, having some form of way for them to get to know you as a coach and your processes is important. On the idea of like the coaching process that you're doing, you're talking about some of the resources and the videos that you do. I mean, all that stuff can be evergreen. I'm working with a consulting client right now, and they're going to be producing a hybrid course, which 60 to 70% of the course is going to be pre-recorded, like high quality pre-recorded video lessons. And then the other 30 or 40% is going to be live coaching sessions that are anchored at really specific times during the program. And so doing hybrid courses is totally doable. Like if there's things like with the nutrition stuff that you're repeating every single group you work with, that stuff should be pre-recorded. It's like, all right, everybody, this week you're going to do this video, and that video before our next session, and then go to the community and share what results or what comes up for you, or, offer some feedback. So I would say like hybrids are great.
Can I offer just a quick reflection on this too for Brianna?
Yeah.
One thing too, Brianna, for the webinars, if you're thinking about for marketing, is realizing that far more, like what you think may take just one conversation, for your clients who haven't heard it before may take 5, for example. You don't need to share as much as you think you do in those webinars. Sometimes in those free classes, it's just about taking one tiny little idea and putting that out there and leading a free conversation around that. Or you could do a high level, very zoomed out, similar to what Brad did today. He's here teaching the course, he's taking the Q&A, but we only have an hour, 90 minutes together, and he can't go into super detail on every single one of these things. But what he is offering is just this initial look at kind of the landscape, the map of this process. And you have that too. And it's of value for people to see that. Yeah. Whether they end up signing up with you or not, it will be of value to them to say, oh, here's this big idea kind of broken into pieces. Now I can get my mind around it a little bit more. You can answer some questions. So I just wanted to share those couple of ideas too, that when the classes you've seen from me, it's stuff that I'm very passionate about, but I just kind of like pick something. And I'm like, I want to talk about this with people. And I put it out there and I invite people to come and we have a conversation. Sometimes it's broader, kind of like my point of view in a nutshell. But there are lots of ways that you can just pick something you like and turn that into kind of your introductory, open to the public space that, again, becomes a value whether they end up signing on or not. But you're not teaching the whole 6-week program in an hour. So I hope that helps. Feel free to just like if there are more questions, keep posting them. But I want to give some space to, I see Allie posted a couple of questions. The first thing she posted was, how do you get comfortable on film? And then how to condense information, especially if we like verbally processing and go on long. Allie, if you're here and you want to come unmuted, feel free. But those were the 2 questions. How to get comfortable on film and how to condense the info.
I would say
there she is.
The getting, hey Allie,
Hey.
The getting comfortable on film is just to start getting on camera as often as possible, and like have, in the beginning, whether it's like inside of Allegra's community, start posting videos that you're creating just to get comfortable creating and sharing. And then when you feel really comfortable, start sharing with the world. So yeah, just like experimenting and playing with it. Ultimately, you can find your own artistic flair as well, of like, who do you want to be? You get to create up your own internet personality that you get to be. And it doesn't have to be what other people are. You know, essentially when we're watching people on the internet, they're being a character. They're expressing a certain personality that they have that is inherent, but you know, they're choosing which part of my personality am I going to express. Like when you watch different videos that we've made at Majik Media, whether it's like the trailer on our website, that's a very like businessy, professional personality. Whereas if you watch some of the Grady Course Adventure stuff where I'm playing a hippie named Flo or Slick Rick or whatever, I'm playing these characters. Those are other like very quirky, weird parts of myself that got expressed. So you know, you can play with that. And I'd just say, like, you know, when you after you've done 100 videos, you're going to feel very comfortable stepping up and doing the thing. It just becomes a routine. It's kind of like, you know, going for your first day of work or like going for a job interview or something. It's uncomfortable. It feels gross, but once you do it enough times. So I would just say commit to it. Commit to way more than one video a week when you're first starting out. Like commit to a daily video for 30 days and you'll be comfortable in 30 days. So it's like, how soon do you want to be comfortable? Do you want to be comfortable in 2 years from now, or do you want to feel comfortable on video in like a month? And if it's a month, then you got to do it every day. It's like how to learn the guitar. It's not picking it up for 60 minutes a week. It's picking it up every day for 10 minutes. And so if that's what if you want to be good at video, do it every day. And then the second question is, how do you condense? That's a really great thing. I would say start with long form. So just write out whatever's inside of you that wants to come out, and then go through and ruthlessly delete half of it and only say what the most important pieces are. So, you know, before you start writing, write down in one sentence, what is my intention? What is the outcome I'm facilitating with what I'm writing here? Like, what is the outcome I want people to walk away with by reading this? And just like mini courses, the goal is to get them the result in as few words as possible, in as few steps as possible. So we're trying to like help make people's lives easier and better. And if we're being long-winded in our answers, they might miss it, right? So again, it's going to take practice, but if you can, you know, write out whatever your script is and then delete half of it, that's condensed. We did this. So we wrote an ebook years ago. And we're like, after we finished the ebook, we're like, who the hell reads ebooks anymore? And she's like, well, let's make an interactive website. And so we ended up making this interactive website that was, you know, it was basically just all headlines. We turned the ebook into like the most important statements that we could come up with for each of the main topics we're speaking on. So, you know, if you can try and like focus on the statements, there's a time for story and there's a time for statements, and to be like really precise with your words. So it's just a practice. And it's a good one. I mean, if you find you're long-winded in how you speak, like this answer that I'm giving right now, try to condense it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can share from experience. This is happening in this moment as I'm recording welcome videos for Misfit to Maverick. And the way that I condense them is by doing take after take, because I'm a verbal processor. So it's like I record it, and it's through the recording of it that I'm like, that's too long. And then I record it again. And then so it also depends on your learning style. If you're more of a writer, then you write it all out and then edit it down. I'm more of like a performer, verbal processor. So I kind of can't know what to trim until I've recorded like the long version multiple times. And it's through the recording of it that it goes from 7 minutes to 6 minutes to 4 minutes until it's like, okay, that's the key point. But what you see like is the result of that just hyper editing multiple times. And just find the journey that works for you, depending on how you like to get stuff out.
It can be painful too, because it's like, it's all important. It feels like cutting a body part off. It's like, no, not that section. I loved that section. But it's like, well, is that section fulfilling the purpose of the video or the article? And if
Awesome.
it's either leading them towards or taking away. And
Um,
just so you know, I have to be off at the top of the hour for a coaching session. So
oh, okay.
probably
So you
one
only have
more.
a few more minutes.
I
All
do.
right.
I can go five. If I'm 5 minutes late, I'm sure it's fine. But
All right. Marcus had a question. So Marcus, if you want to come off and shoot that our way.
Sure. Hey, everybody. It's great to be here on this call. I'm feeling super excited and inspired. Brad, my question is, I had such a big, like a light bulb go off, like, and I did this in my intent work, in the workbook for building my course, which was like, I want to build this course, the why, because I need to move on from this work. And I don't,
Oh, I love that.
I can't just let it would be such a waste, that 12 years of work. But the problem is that I have a whole new body of material that wants to come out. And as you know, I'm struggling with where to start, right? Because they're connected, but they're two very different bodies of work. And I'm wondering, do you think, even though I'm less inspired by what I should do, what is like, what I already know, should I stay with that just because I already know it? Or should I go with the more inspiring one, even though I'm still kind of figuring out and build that as I go along?
like, where's the chi? Where's the energy right now? Even though you've got that body of work from 12 years ago, maybe those were all tools you needed to develop in order to get to where you are. But maybe you're not supposed to be monetizing that anymore. And by holding on to it, you're not letting yourself move forward into the future you're supposed to have. So I think it's like, get real with yourself of like, for me, meditation was still something I was very much present and doing. And even while I was building my courses, I was transitioning out of meditation. And for you, like, if the things that you developed, I mean, can some of those skills be incorporated to how you present what you really want to be doing? I think it's like, we need to remain authentic to where we are in our life journey right now, and what is present, and what are people asking of us, and where can our gifts be of most value at the moment. The world's a pretty interesting place right now. And so where can your gifts be most useful for other people? And I would focus there. Like, I wouldn't hold on to the past, because to me, like, when you described it, it sounded stagnant, that you were like, well, I have all these things and I should monetize them. And if that's not the case, maybe I misunderstood. But I think, like, you have so many talents, Marcus, just knowing you over the years and inside of the community. Like, there's a lot of things you could do. And I would say, like, for now, choose one of those things and just go all in and focus on that.